Welcome to today's Council and Committee meeting at 10 o'clock on March 4th, 2025. At this time, I'd like to remind committee members and members of the public in attendance that all committee and council meetings are recorded. Please note that these recordings may capture comments made during meetings or in breaks or recesses. Recordings will be available to the public on the municipal YouTube channel for members to view. The public may also attend the open session of this meeting in person in the municipal council chambers. Please mute all electronic devices during the meeting. Thank you. And now the First Nations land acknowledgement. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of council and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history, and we are extremely grateful for the many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Right, I have a recommendation to adopt the agenda. Recommendation is the Council and Committee agenda for March 4th, 2025 be approved as presented. Can I get a mover on that? Councillor Olszewski, second by Councillor Blank. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Okay.
None here.
Seeing none, we will move on to item 5.1 under delegations and presentations. And this is the final budget presentation from our treasurer. Amanda, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. So today I'm just going to go over the overall budget that was presented earlier. We'll discuss the general levy budget, the curbside transfer station, area rate budgets, and the water wastewater budgets. So the budget process is a bottom-up budget process that's inclusive of staff members and community groups' needs within the municipality. The budget process is a continuous process that is constant. Once one fiscal year budget is completed, the next begins, as staff need to continuously be mindful of financial constraints, but continue to offer similar levels of service year after year. As meetings take place, opportunities may arise for financial savings or needs for departments may become present. And in that sense, staff and council need to weigh the needs of the department and the timing of the expenditures. So the budget process has three sections to it: multiple planning projects, continued or commenced, and staff must consider studies such as the asset management planning. There is a legislated update due July 1st of this year. We also have our building condition assessments, and we have a roads needs study that will be updated, which is due this spring of 2025. In September to December of 2024 and January of 2025, staff outreach begins, a staff plan and identify for 2025. Committees of council, user groups, and committee chairs discuss the needs of the departments. We need to begin to identify 5 to 10 year capital projects and department needs. In February of 2025, draft budget was presented for municipal operating and capital, water and wastewater, curbside and transfer stations. All were approved with adjustments to the municipal budget. March of 2025, the water service and wastewater service budgets are presented by bylaw and approved in time for Q1 billing. April and May of 2025, the municipal tax rate bylaw will be presented for approval following the upper tier tax rates, ratios, and reductions bylaw approval. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. So this is the municipal budget summary 2024 to 2025 by departments. Overall, there has been a year-over-year decrease of 8.5% of all department expenditures. At its face value, an 8.5% decrease in expenditures may look substantial. However, there are several components that need to be considered, such as grant funding, capital projects that may have been deferred from one previous year to then take place in the current year, and the amount of funds being placed in reserves from grants received or taxation, and the amount of reserves being drawn upon to cover the expenditures. I'd like to draw the attention of the public to the protection services line, as changes have been made to the general levy, which will have significant impacts to residents' tax billings, to be discussed a little bit later. There. Okay. Sorry. Total revenues includes drawing from reserves, grant funding received, special payments such as OSIF and the Canada Community Building Fund. The PIL revenue is money in lieu of taxes from ministries for properties under their control, such as the MNR, OPG, and Hydro One networks, to name a few. As you can see, the OMPF Ontario Municipal Partnership Fund has increased by 6.5% this year, or $104,200. You will see the amount from taxation required has significantly reduced. Based on the Ontario Property Tax Analysis website, which is a site administered by the Ministry of Finance, where all upper, lower, and single-tier municipalities, as well as school boards and MPAC, must report their tax data based on the weighted current value assessments in the system and the municipality's previous year data, the tax levy increase is reporting a 2.5% increase. So the levy requirement increase from 2024 to 2025 is 3.49%. The current value assessment change by the end of 2024 was 0.99%, which means the potential residential tax increase would be 2.5%. Assessment growth is equal to new taxes from new and or expanded homes and or businesses to pay for the services they receive. It is not an increase in your assessment. In the fall of 2024, following a discussion at a Finance Committee meeting, the decision was made to remove the $916,105 OPP bill from the general levy and divide the billing equally amongst every property in the Township of Madawaska Valley, approximately 4,323 tax rolls. The reason being is that the OPP billing is a billing that the municipality does not have control over. It is not part of our general levy, and the decisions for the cost of the OPP billing cannot be voted on by council. Therefore, it needs to be applied as a separate tax rate cost. So on this slide that I have presented for you, we're looking at how this impact will, or how this change will impact the residents of the Township of Madawaska Valley. Based on the single-family dwelling, the median assessment for 2025 is $157,000. This is reported from the MPAC site. The 2024 tax year, a single-family dwelling would be billed $887.41 in taxes annually. This is for municipal property taxes only. So if we take the 2025 tax year, a 2.5% increase, the total taxes for municipal taxes only would be $909.60. This is an increase of $22.19. However, because we have determined that it is important to remove the OPP billing and provide the cost at a separate area rate, removing that cost would mean a $750.37 tax levy. On your tax bill statement, you will see then $211.91 for the OPP rate, which would then bring it to $962.28. This results in an increase of $74.87 from 2024. So as you look further down the line, as the median assessment increases, the tax impact will decrease. And that is because when the OPP billing was built within the general levy, the cost was shared amongst the residents. Based on municipal assessment, the higher your assessment, the more you pay. Therefore, by removing it, the lower your assessment, the more that you will pay. This is a catch-up procedure that was identified as a necessary cost. Now, the municipal tax levy is only one component of the overall tax rate. Excuse me. The tax bill that the residents receive has the municipal taxes, your county taxes, and your education taxes. The municipality collects those funds on behalf of the County of Renfrew and the various school boards within our Renfrew County District. Therefore, the money comes into the municipality, and then quarterly the municipality remits those monies to those organizations. So based on your 2025 tax year, you can see that the distribution of your taxes for municipality is 44.4% for the municipality. The County of Renfrew is 41.1%, and your education taxes would equate to 14.4%. So less than half of your property tax bill stays within the Township of Madawaska Valley. The 2025 capital projects identified have been summarized on the next two slides. Starting with Public Works, we have a roads need study update. We continue with our gravel resurfacing of various roads, which includes this year the Kuyak Road, Carson Heights Road, Carson Grove Road, Pioneer Road, and Luckovich Road. We have gravel pit rehabilitation, the Connecting Link program, which is the Highway 60 and 62 intersection. There will be significant construction on that corner. We have the Hopefield Road reconstruction, which is 2.3 kilometers from Dombrowski Road to Kuyak Lake Road. The Peter Street culvert replacement, Lower Craigmont Road, Yard 1 shop lighting LED conversion. We have a tandem truck purchase, which has been delayed from the 2023 tendering process. We also have a tow behind sweeper, equipment 63 replacement of a half-ton truck, a new Parks Department half-ton truck, and a C-can with roll-up doors at the Bark Lake Waste Disposal site. Within the general admin capital, we have the comprehensive zoning bylaw update to be completed this year. We want to continue with our asset management planning. We have the information management SharePoint architecture as the municipality moves towards cloud-based reporting or recording. We have the office furnace replacement. Sorry, I saw that as office furniture and I was wondering what that was. No, the furnace here in the office needs to be replaced. We have the carpet and trim replacement for the municipal office, and just continuing with the HR audit. We also have website update and training. We have plans to update the Christmas seasonal lighting within Combermere. There is a PJY elevator design, which is a continuation of project proposal from 2023. The PJY lobby door replacement, those are fire rated doors and they're very expensive. Chiller suction valve and ball field lighting upgrades. So this will be a 3-year project, we believe. So replacing some lights as we can afford it, and then in future years replace some more. At the CO Hall, we have the AC unit review and moving. We have the outdoor rink LED lighting upgrade. We have the community center fence repair, which is the fence that divides the parking lot from the field. We have some repairs at inside the Combermere Community Center, which is a kitchen, restaurant, sink, and faucet, some painting and floor sanding. We have identified outdoor rink board repairs. However, this is dependent on grant fund application decision. We have identified at the Crooked Slide Park there is a significant chute repair that needs to be completed. There was the Wilno Recreation Rink Board donation, which was already completed in January of 2025. And the wooden water tower in Barry's Bay, the structural evaluation, it's a project continuation of 2023. For the fire department, we have the radio tower for the repeater on Water Tower Hill, a tanker bay heater for the North Hall, and bunker suits. Again, departments are highly encouraged to review fees and service charges to ensure appropriate funds for services are collected. All capital projects in the 2025 budget are funded from reserves, and all operating costs are funded from the tax levy. The township has many obligatory and discretionary reserves, deferred revenue, and surplus accounts. This year we are withdrawing $1,704,856. We are adding $1,436,016, leaving us with a balance of $5,515,698. The curbside pickup area rate is a rate that applies only to the residential, commercial, and institutional and industrial units located in the former village of Barry's Bay and outlying areas that receive this service. The 2025 curbside area rate will be increasing 2.77% from 2024. So the residential rate will now be $185. The total curbside reserves is at a balance of $440,160. The transfer station area rate is a rate that applies only to the property assessments in the former townships of Radcliffe, Sherwood, Jones, and Burns, who do not receive curbside pickup services. The 2025 transfer station rate will increase 5% from the 2024 rate. This means the residential charge will be $42. The total transfer station reserves balance is at $323,252.51. The 2025 water and wastewater rates. The rate for the municipal drinking water system will be $5.16 per cubic meter, or $77.40 per 15 cubic meter quarterly minimum. This is a 4% increase from the 2024 rate. The total water system reserves, including surplus, is $824,674. The municipal wastewater treatment system will see an increase in the rate of $5.52 per cubic meter, or $82.80 per 15 cubic meter quarterly minimum. This is a 3.9% increase from the 2024 rate, with a total wastewater system reserves, including surplus, of $687,777. The 2020 Water and Wastewater Rate Study and Financial Analysis Study, which can be found at the Township website, will be updated in 2025. So the water and wastewater capital projects include the Water Wastewater Rate Study and Financial Plan, hydrant and water main repairs, pump repairs and parts, additional operating parts, supplies, and repairs. We have continuing the ISIP Green Fund project, which is the standpipe tower rehabilitation. We've also noted that the Queen Street water and wastewater line replacement will be a major project. We are awaiting preliminary costing and grant funding application by the province of Ontario. Preliminary estimates are at $750,000 to $850,000. Further reporting will be coming to committee. The wastewater plant roof replacement has been completed, but because it did not, we didn't receive the final billing until the budgets were completed. It does show on the capital budget, however, it has been finally completed. The chemical feed system upgrade and UV system and pump repairs will be done, and electrical instrumentation, controls, and equipment repairs and supplies. And I think that's it. So that is the overall budget. If there are questions from the public, I encourage you to please email me or call me. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Any questions from council? Councillor Blank.
Thank you, Amanda, and I want to thank you for the excellent work that you and your staff and all the staff of the township have done with the committees and that to come up with a budget. As you know, in the past discussions we've had with budget, I did not agree with the 2.5% increase, and I still believe that way. When I was looking at the numbers, you gave me some information that if the township wants to continue to look after the road equipment reserve, at the present time, we only have $30,000 in that account. I'm concerned about that because that is a very low amount. And I think that we need to reevaluate perhaps what we are looking at. When I consider that on the page, I'm not sure the page number, but if you want to put it up, it's the 3 levels of taxation. Sorry about that. No, keep going. Keep going. Tax impact on OPP, that one. Okay. So my concern is the increases for the single-family dwellings. But when I look at the numbers, and you gave me the results of this, if it was a 3.5 increase, it would mean a $9 increase over what is already estimated at for that first section, and $15 for the next. So the impact of raising it by 1% to the lower tax base would not be a huge increase. But I feel responsible as a councillor to state that we need to keep our reserves up, and in particular when I look at the roads and operations and see what we have left over in the reserves, I'm very concerned. I don't know if there's anything that can be done at this point in time, but I still would like to see an increase of 3.5% rather than the 2.5%. Dollars and cents wise, as I said before, we have had, we are uncertain of what's going to be happening within our country and world over this coming year, and I don't know if we are prepared for much of anything. I have spoken to many people. Actually, people have come up to me, a number of people from all over our township, regardless of where they live, concerned about why other townships have increased theirs by so much, what's happening there. And I stated to them I cannot answer for them. I do not know what their individual things are. But they were concerned about the increase here, and saying that we may be stabbing ourselves in the foot by not going ahead with a larger increase that has been presented. I believe that my fellow councillors are not in tune with what I'm saying, but I do know that I had said that I would bring it up again at this point, and very concerned over the tax increase. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Blank. And I too would like to thank our treasurer, Amanda. I think we put together a very, very good budget. I think it's reasonable. I think when you're looking at budgeting, you have to look over a long period of time. You can't take 1 year at a time. And I think when we look at what this council has done, we've been relatively consistent. We have not put ourselves in the situation where we're strapping ourselves financially like some municipalities have. So again, I give all the credit to the department heads, and especially Amanda, for putting this together. I think her work is top notch, and I think we have a very good budget heading forward. And I hope we can continue with this type of trend. I personally, when I look at where we're at, I am not overly worried. We do have a state of complete uncertainty right now with the U.S. situation, but I don't think we could have done much more than this. And I just have to say I'm very happy with the budget you presented. Thank you.
Through you, Chair. So I will just continue to say that I do work with the department heads, and I encourage them to provide me with future capital costs. So 5 years, 10 years would be great. It's important for them to look at their capital needs, whether it be facilities or equipment, information technology, and provide me with some appropriate numbers so that we can plan for the future to itemize what those needs for the reserves are. So I will continue to encourage departments to please identify the needs for future years. And that being said, I wanted to just for the public, the whole of the budget is attached to the bylaw and will be available on the website. The budget has been presented today in the bylaw, and it is available for council to vote on.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. We will move on to minutes of local boards and joint committee, and we have the Barry's Bay Business Improvement Area. Any questions on these? Councillor Micah, do you have anything to say on BIA?
Well, there's things further on. We can I'll move to accept the minutes.
Okay. All right, so Councillor Micah has moved to accept the minutes. We do have a recommendation. The Council of Corporation and Township of Madawaska Valley does hereby receive and file the minutes of the meeting of the Barry's Bay Business Improvement Area as presented, which was held on November 19th, 2024. So Councillor Micah has moved it. Could I get a seconder? Councillor Blank. Any discussion?
None.
All in favor? That's carried. So we'll move into the council and committee portion of the agenda. And we start with operations, road and waste management. So I turn it over to Councillor Micah.
I just wanted to bring up the meeting yesterday.
I think we'll talk about that later, way in the back.
Okay.
You're talking about the BIA? Yeah, there's information at the back of the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll, excuse me, move into item 8.1, municipal reports, which is it's titled page 17. So Mike, you've given us lots of dates here for November, December, January, February for lots of plowing, lots of sanding, including probably today. We've had, I think, a rough winter. We've had a true old-fashioned winter, and I think people forgot we get winter. It's it's funny how everybody's reacting, including myself, because we just haven't had a winter like this in a while. Between the amount of, we got away lucky in January, and the amount of snow and the cold. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to identify with respect to the plowing and the sanding operations.
Yeah, sure. Like you said, it's been a rough couple of weeks here in the Public Works Department, lots of hours. Just like to thank my staff for sure for going above and beyond and making sure everything has been well looked after. Yeah, it was a slow start to the winter, but it sure came on strong lately. It did. But yeah, no, lots of plowing, and then whenever we're not plowing, we're doing lots of snow removal, try to keep the safety, keep the banks down so people can see, and then keeping things opened up. So whenever we're not plowing, we've been removing snow.
So, sorry, can I just stop you
Absolutely,
there?
anytime.
Because I don't want to go on to the water main break. So on the snow removal, if we could, and maybe you've started this in the last day or two, make sure that all of the fire hydrants in the village are cleaned out. And we have to do more snow removal. It's hard. I know there's only the one machine, but I don't know, looking at the budget, if we maybe bring in some contractors to help us, if we have to get more snow removed from the village and on the main street. I was particularly from Stafford Street going towards Tim Hortons. People, it's difficult to walk there, and you have to kind of veer. So if we, and I know it's hard because there's only so many people, and we've been plowing, and so that there's not many days. But if we could kind of focus on that, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Mayor Wilmer.
And I know also, Mike, because you and I sent a couple of emails that your staff are working on getting the snow removal done as quickly as possible, but there's another issue with this rain and freezing rain, and the priority is to clean it, make sure all the catch basins are clear. So I think that's important that that is done, and then we'll continue on with the snow removal.
Absolutely. Yep. Sure.
Okay, that's great. So we'll move on if you want to.
Sure. I'll just, I'm not going to go into too much depth. I think Aqua has an update for the water main break on February 20th. So just, I'd put it in my report here just in case. But yeah, I think there's an update coming. So just that we had a water main break there. I had a couple of pictures of attached. But I think they're going to go into depth of that. So I'll skip that. And then just upcoming for March, preparing tenders. Obviously, we're going full bore March to get those tenders out as soon as possible. So the winter sand, hot mix, surface treatment, granular tenders are being worked on currently. And then also hoping to have a just an information update on this for Sand Dome. I've been in contact with some other municipalities and getting together a little information package for hopefully the next meeting.
Okay, that's good. And on the tenders, have any of them gone out yet?
Nothing has gone out yet. No.
Okay, can we put a move on that? I'm very worried about what's occurred as of midnight last night, to get those out the door fast, so that we're not at a disadvantage. Okay, is there any questions from council with regards to anything on the report? None? Seeing none? Okay, well, thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. And I do want to congratulate actually everybody for the dual back-to-back massive snowstorms that we had with all of about 5 minutes in between two of them. I really, really want to commend the roads department. I usually you hear a lot of complaints from the public, and I have to say, honestly, after those two massive events, and on Family Day weekend again, and I feel very bad for all of the staff, but they performed top-notch, and I heard nothing but compliments from everything from the timing of the scheduling, which is a hard call, to the performance overall. It was good. They did excellent. Really, really, really well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so under correspondence, I don't see that we have anything, and any unfinished business. I see none. Oh, sorry, Mary, did you? No? Okay.
Oh, no.
I see none, so that concludes the operations report.
All right, thank you, Councillor Micah. So with that, we will move into operations, wastewater, and facilities, and I'll turn it over to Councillor Osowski.
Thank you very much. Okay, so operations, water, wastewater, and facilities, municipal reports 9.1. We have the 2024 fourth quarter report, Barry's Bay drinking water system and wastewater system. There's a recommendation that goes with that Council, the Corporation of the Township Madawaska Valley does hereby receive and approve the Ontario Clean Water Agency's Barry's Bay drinking water system and wastewater system quarterly report for the fourth quarter of 2024 is presented. We'll have the kind folks from Aqua here just give us the executive summary on it, and away we go.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, so this is similar. We bring this to council every quarter, of course. We have on the first page our compliance targets, and then followed up with the highlights on the second page. In January 14th, we brought forth two phosphorus exceedances. Those were already discussed, and then
we discovered an E. coli exceedant. Oh, sorry. We discovered an E. coli exceedant. So what happens is when we do our monthly checks and then we do a quarterly check, and we caught the E. coli on the quarterly check, so that's why it's being reported now.
Okay. Yeah, you have your trending for the water and wastewater flows for the year. These are the same graphs that are going to be shown in the annual reports for both water and wastewater that are coming up next. Highlights how many work orders were completed. The major maintenance ones that were passed by council previously would have been late last year. Sewer main blockage on Highway 60. Water main break at 134 Bay. That was the one over around New Year's that there was 200 cubic meters lost and 5.2 meter break. That's what we're discussing about getting pricing on for the funding that Amanda spoke to previously. And community complaints, there was just, you know, it's not uncommon to have disturbances in the water system with a major break of that occurring previously. And then you have your water performance assessment reports, water and wastewater. And then we have the financial portion. So, 5972 Barry's Bay Water, as you see, came out just pretty good. We have Barry's Bay wastewater that was, as discussed previously, it was the OPSU rate changes that were effective January of 24 that influenced that. The extra load of Pass 8 and a little bit of soda ash contributed to that exceedance. And the sludge haulage remained very close to Q3 at the end of the year, so that's where we ended up. The difference in the sludge haulage was 300 cubic meters, of which that was the clean out from that we've discussed previously. That's the capacity of what those tanks contain. So.
Questions, Councillor Micah?
Do we know where the chemicals come from? Do we, like, are they Canadian-based chemicals? Are we importing them? Or do we?
Yes,
I know
most
it's
of them
crazy, but I'm just.
Most of our alum-based product, which is the brunt of what we use, are the largest dollar figure amount, and they come out of Montreal. So far, that's okay. We are watching it and monitoring very closely, but as of yet, that's
Okay.
I have nothing to report on that.
Well, that's good news. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? And that's the end of that report, right? I read the recommendation. I'll move the recommendation. Is there a seconder? Mayor Wilmer, all in favor? And that is carried. And now we'll move on to 9.1.2, Barry's Bay Drinking Water System and Wastewater Annual Report 2024. There's the two reports attached. Ashley, if you wouldn't mind, another quick executive summary of those, please.
I'm gonna hand this one off to Vanessa because it's 90% compliance.
Perfect.
Hooray. So what these reports are, they're required by regulation to be prepared and presented at the end of, obviously, the calendar year. They basically highlight flows, they highlight maintenance activities, all of our sampling that we conducted over the course of the year. As you can see through the report, there was nothing, in both reports actually, there's not really anything that, there shouldn't be any surprises in the content of these reports, as you guys are presented with most of the key stuff on a quarterly basis. So, did you guys have any questions?
Any questions from council with regards to those reports? I'm seeing none. So, there's, where am I here? I'm lost, okay. Found myself. There's a couple of recommendations here. Recommendation that the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Madawaska Valley does hereby receive and approve the Ontario Clean Water Agency's Barry's Bay Drinking Water System Annual Report for 2024 as presented. Can I have a mover on that, please? Councillor Blank, second by Councillor Micah. All in favor? And that is carried. Another recommendation that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Madawaska Valley does hereby receive and approve the Ontario Clean Water Agency's Barry's Bay Wastewater System Annual Report for 2024 is presented. Can I have a mover on that, please? Mayor Wilmer, second by Councillor Schulist. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, so moving on. Correspondence and information. We have a February 2nd water main break. What?
20th. February 20th, I believe.
Oh, 20th, it's a second on here, February 20th, sorry,
Oh, okay.
corrected. Oh, the water main break, so, pictures, pipe cracked, right? Frost or
Deflection would be my guess.
deflection, yeah,
Yeah, it had a
yeah, oh,
pretty good curve in it.
Yeah.
And as, I don't know if you've ever worked with that kind of pipe, but it seems to split lengthways in the pipe as opposed to horizontal.
around, yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't act the same characteristically as ductile, where it would just ring break. This stuff, yeah, it split pretty much an entire length.
yeah,
Yeah, with the depth of the frost and everything, it didn't come up in the road. It came up under the snowbank on the side where there's less frost. We lost approximately 500 cubic meters in wasn't very 43 minutes, I think, if memory serves me correct.
wow,
From the time it was found to the time it was shut down on the trending. Yeah, that's almost 2 days of the whole town usage. Average day is 350, 360. So it was a lot, as I'm sure most of you seen. We had to use a hydraulic hammer on an excavator to rake up the frost and then clean that out with a bucket and then hydrovac down a little bit or see if we could and then go back to I think the home ram was on twice. Yeah, so it took quite a while to get everything excavated and get down to where we needed to be. And yeah, once it was exposed, the pipe was replaced relatively quickly and flushing happened and everything was put back in service later on that night around, I'm going to say it was around 8 o'clock that evening. Just before the hockey game.
yeah. That's it, okay,
There, as I said in the last paragraph, or the second last paragraph, there was where the water came out and the landscaping that was there, it came out and across the lawn of 136 in two directions, as you can see in the last picture. And I did have a call from I'm not sure it was the owner of the building, somebody that was affiliated with them. And there was water damage to the basement. As of yet, I did do a follow-up on Friday. I do not have an email as of yet. So we're gonna deal with that as it comes. So I'm still waiting on the correspondence from them.
okay, excellent, perfect. Any questions or anything from council with regards to that, or?
Nope.
Yeah, you got it fixed.
Yeah, Mary was there.
Councillor Micah?
So I kind of want to, we blew through it, but the previous, for the annual wastewater system report. Well, it starts on 47.
Yeah,
So it's identifying throughout this report, multiple exceedances, and graphs that, I've seen a lot of these reports. They're very, which is not normal. There's some fluctuation, but this is quite unusual, anything at least that I have seen. When I see exceedances more than 50% of the time during the year for phosphorus, something's happening, right? Something clearly is going on down there at that plant. And I think it behooves us we need to look into this very seriously. And in one of the pages, it says the operations team also has access to a network of operational compliance and process specialists to assist for emerging process issues. I think it may be time to pull those extra heads in and take a deeper dive, because, we need to get whatever's happening. There's something happening. I'm no scientist, but it's showing up. So, And it hasn't in the past. There's, you know, the odd thing here and there, but I mean, generally, over the course of many years, it's, you know, it's been pretty good. I know temperature plays a factor into these things, but we still have to make sure we're not, you know, we have to do something about it. So, you know, I would request a deeper, I don't know if you're gonna speak to that based on the next piece of correspondence.
Ashley?
So since our last meeting, I did have our chemical supplier come up and do on-site jar testing with the mixed liquor that we have here currently. And now there is a better suited coagulant than what we've seen before, and I'm very hopeful that it will alleviate a lot of our issues. So I'm just waiting on her report to come back highlighting this, and I'll be able to bring something forward
Okay, that's good
maybe by the
news.
next meeting.
That's very good news, okay.
Yeah,
Good.
it's something that wasn't available previously that we've never had access to until about the last couple of years. It's more of a water plant coagulant, but based on our alkalinity here and the requirements we need, we think it's gonna work. So we would trial it, of course, and go from there and see.
Good.
So,
Okay, well, that's very good news.
as well, we did find somewhat of a floating roof that, floating cover that we had discussed previously. It's quite unique. It is out of Texas, so we're still working on how that would work in this scenario. We're working with their departments trying to sort out if that would, but it's supposed to retain 92% of the temperature within the cells. So
Good, good. Well, let's investigate that for sure.
Absolutely.
Good,
We're working
okay,
on it.
great.
Any other questions from council? Nothing? Seeing none, and then the last thing is there's just a revision to notification and non-compliance with effluent limit, Aqua Water Pollution Control Plant, January 2025. It's just a revision, right? So we've already seen it.
correct.
So there's no questions there. Seeing none, unfinished business, none. Thank you very much for coming in and going through all that with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And I'll hand off the chair to Councillor Schulist. Next one.
Councillor Schulis, will it move into fire and protection and emergency management?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is the chief in?
Yes, he is.
Okay. All right, then, under municipal reports, 10.1.1, fire activities and call for service. Chief, could you take over?
Okay, I'll start off with maintenance repairs. The North and South Hall have had their manual fire extinguisher testing done, so that's been good. The South Hall's had a semi-annual calibration of its carbon monoxide detector completed with no issues. Training and meetings on February 15th and 16th, I attended the SP 230 wildfire strategies and tactics for the fire department in North with the M&R in North Bay. On February 22nd and 23rd, Sean Dabrowski, North Hall, Tim Valinsky, Monica Swank, David Velasquez from the South Hall attended the SP 230 course in Halliburton as a requirement of part of their fire agreement, so we are now compliant with that part of it. The SP 230 course covered interagency response agreements, firefighter safety, fire weather, fire behavior, fire investigation, strategies and tactics, include also actual wildfire scenarios and how to deal with them, and showed us how to proper procedures to work with municipal and Ministry of Natural Resources firefighting crews. On February 18th, I attended the Ministry of Natural Resources Forestry Fire Agreement Workshop in Flinton. The workshop was discussed the purpose of having a fire agreement between municipalities and the MNRF and the fire regions. Both the SP 230 and SP 103 wildfire, my mistake, the fire agreement workshop was excellent. The MNR do an excellent job when they do their presentations. It's a lot of PowerPoints, but they do give a lot of information. You'll learn a lot when you're there. They're very well received. Well, down in Flint, I was able to obtain the SP 103 wildfire course, which is for MNRF for full wildfires. It usually costs $250 per firefighter, but we were able to do it in-house now. They give us all the agreements. It's good for 10 years, the agreement to do it in-house, so we're saving $250 per firefighter, as opposed to sending them out, plus accommodations. So we're saving a minimum of $3,500 of taxpayers' money to be able to do it internally.
That's good.
So, on February 26th and 27th, firefighters from both halls completed their annual CPR recertification. Upcoming training, combined training is this year will be a full foot sail exercise of P38. That will also include our EMO training for the year. Instead of a tabletop, it'll be an actual exercise. There'll be extrication training that'll be crisscrossed between the two fire halls. They're combined at the two fire halls, and the SP 103 foil fire training between the two halls will be combined together. So those will be 3 times this year. The two fire halls will be working as one during the training. Inspections on February 6th. I inspected the Kids Castle daycare. There's an annual inspection. There are no issues once again. The daycare is compliant to the fire code. Then I received one complaint about a short-term rental not having smoke detectors or carbon monoxide alarms installed in the establishment. I showed up without giving any notice. The place was compliant, right from the kitchen right through to every room. So it was a non-founded complaint. So the establishment that was were quite easy to get along with. Like, they didn't question it and didn't stop me at all. So that went well. A new firefighter. I'm asking council committee recommend to council to hire Casey Bredesen, I hope I said his last name right, as a probationary firefighter for the North Hall. Casey's an employee with the municipality. He works at the arena. He's a young fellow. He seems to be very interested and very highly recommended from everybody I spoke to. So, and he has all his paperwork handed in, like his audible sector check, his driver's abstract, everything's ready to go. So we'll start him if council does approve it. Early March, he'll be starting in with us for the North Hall. He's the first one to come back from all the applications we handed out. The first firefighter that's
Good.
And then here's the fire report. I know it's not on there, but I'll give a copy to all the councils.
Yeah.
Just so you see.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Chief. Now, before we go do the recommendation on the new firefighter, everybody's getting a copy. Is there any questions from council? I don't see. Oh, Councillor Blank.
Yes, regarding the fire services, just recently, I know that our fire department, under your tutelage, have got training in EV fires, electric vehicle fires. However, on the news yesterday or the day before, it was on the news that there was a fire at an EV station, intentionally set, apparently, and there were 7 or 8 things that were on fire. So when you guys get your training, I know it's with cars, so what happens? Like, I know that there are a few in the area, and you may be called on to assist, but what kind of training do you have when it comes to a larger one like that? And what are you concerned about in training, et cetera, for that?
You're talking about actual charging stations?
Yes.
Okay, charging stations are the same as any kind of electrical utility. We'd have to hydro or somebody like a hydro or utility come in and disconnect the power for even the tap to do it because they're charged all the time.
Yes, okay.
So right away we have to stand back. We cover our exposures first, make sure they can't spread.
Okay.
And more or less let it burn itself out until the hydro can shut the power off. And then we can actually attack the fires. No different than any other fire with live wires or like any industrial kind of thing.
Okay.
But that is covered in our training quite well. So
Yeah, okay. Do you know offhand how many are in the area? No, okay.
no, I've tried to ask for that, and there's no actual regulations showing where they are.
Okay.
The fire marshal's working on that because it is a
Excellent.
concern because we go to somebody's house, we go to a business, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, the fire marshal's trying to get that legislated right now. They've been working on it for the last 2 years.
Okay, good.
But they still haven't got any concrete things. So each fire department, every area, have a handbook in your truck, and they say, okay, this is what we're up against. But we're working on that, hoping for legislation. Hopefully we're hoping by July is what the last thing they said at the last meeting I spoke to at the fire marshal's office.
Okay, great, thank you. I do have one other question, but I don't know if you wanted to deal with the fire thing first before I go on to the other question. Councillor Schulist?
No, you go ahead.
Okay, in regard to OPG,
Okay.
okay, now OPG concerns were brought forward to me, and I brought forward to the council, to the CEO and mayor and yourself regarding what's happening with all the snow loads that are happening right now and what are the updates, and I think you've been in contact with them. Do you have a report?
I have, and thanks to CEO Clutch, he reached out to OPG also right before I come up. I printed off the most current, which is 1st of February, so I'll give you this also. Look at the snow loads. We're slightly below Average at that, at February 1st.
Oh, February 1st, okay.
We're behind, that's not too strong.
All right, there's been a difference.
Thank you.
I do see as well that we have been copied on a letter from Jennifer Gardner regarding the OPG and data reports, as well as all council members have that at this point, but
Yeah, it just came in this morning.
it just came in this morning, yeah.
And also, Freshet calls start on Thursday. It's our first Freshet call on
Yes,
Thursday. So
yeah.
I'll give you the most update information as of Thursday afternoon, probably between 2 and 2:30, because they usually last about an hour. The Freshet call starts at 1.
Okay,
So I will send council and staff an update to actually what the most accurate numbers are and what they're planning or predicting.
okay.
I know Bark Lake, they're still drawing it down for another 2 weeks to get to
Okay.
the most, like the minimal level.
All right.
Take another 2 weeks to get to the for the Freshet, but they're drawing it down as quickly as possible. And then we'll hear more updates to what the prediction for the park is, like the snow load up there. This would affect the Madawaska and the Bonnechere River, which affects us.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Councillor Micah?
So, Corey, when you go into that Freshet meeting, because they always talk about Bark Lake. They talk about the levels in Bark Lake, whether they're, whatever they want to do with the actual Bark Lake.
Yep.
They never discuss what's happening downstream of Bark Lake as far as emptying the river and Nageek Lake, because there's Palmer Dam then. So we need to confirm, are they drawing that down as well? Do you know what I mean? Because they worry about Bark Lake, and then this is what happens. It goes, and this is where the flooding has happened before, because they dropped the ball on the river. And we really have to make sure that that's really, really what we're talking about, because those flooding events wouldn't have been as severe had the levels been drawn down on the river and on like Nageek Lake to Palmer Dam.
I can't really speak on behalf of OPG, but I will explain to you like what happened in 2019. I know specifically because it was such a weird flood, severe flood, is the Ottawa River.
That one was different,
No,
but
but
the
just-
one before that, that
Both
was,
of them are saying what they said though. This is what they're saying. What OPG explained to me. I'm not saying I can't speak on their behalf to make sure that's clear. Is because of the amount of water coming the other way, it starts then at Iron Prairie. They got to start working their way back, so they don't overwork the Calabogie dams or Barrett Chute is a generating power, so you can only hold so much water. So that's the thing. It's quite a complicated system. I've sat through their meetings. Every 2 years we have one down in Renfrew with and they do bring that up. They keep the Ontario government keeps telling us they're coming up with a better system. They're coming up with more modern. You're supposed to give us flooding maps and the live map we're supposed to watch every day. It still hasn't came through. It's been 4 years now we've been told this. Okay, so
yeah.
I will mention it to them, but
Just,
I know
just
the
to
Palmer Dam
have
is
the
open.
conversation
It's so,
would
but
be great.
I know just speaking OPG, that's the way they're talking. They have trying to flood
Yeah.
like Palmer Dam is a reserve dam to control the flooding. It's not actually a power. Same with Bark Lake, but they said they're trying their best. It's Bark Lake's a reservoir to try and hold it back, but sort of just to explain to the public, not trying to put anybody down, just trying to explain kind of what.
No, not at all. It's just, I'm just thinking while the conversations are occurring, because I've been a part of those calls before, and they always talk about Bark Lake and the park and what's coming, which is clearly the focus, because that's what's then gonna, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of
I know the Madawaska-
conversation of further than that.
I know the Madawaska River at the moment is higher than normal.
I know it is, that's why I'm.
Don't see, no, they have opened the dams at Palmer Dam.
Good.
There about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like, I think they're pretty much wide open.
Okay.
Like
good.
there's another sheet that shows the actual flows. I didn't bring it up to you, but the actual flows are
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the other sheet that we discussed. Where we'll see the website that OPG did provide counsel there, thanks to
Yeah.
CEO plan to get a hold of her this morning. But yeah, she did just send that to you. I only printed this piece off because it's about that thick. I didn't want to
Yeah,
waste
yeah.
your.
That's good. Well, I'm glad the calls are starting, because then that'll be great.
Okay. Councillor Blank and then Mr. Mayor. Go ahead, Councillor Blank.
Thank you. Just to follow up, in the letter from Jennifer this morning, in response to the CAO's letter, she mentions, and I think we have to keep this in mind too, that flooding statements and warnings are the jurisdiction of the MNR, not the OPG. So I think we need to be in contact with MNR and see what their plans are at this point in time as well.
They're also part of the
Yes,
pressure
yeah.
calls. They
Yeah.
starts off with OPG, then M&R gives their updates and not
Yes.
their.
So make sure you question them about our end of because we don't want to happen what happened last year. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, just quickly, also in that letter today from Jennifer, she does mention that March 19th is a possible date that we could meet with them and tour the Bark Lake Dam. So it might be worthwhile because we could have some of our questions. It would be good timing to have a lot of our questions looked at.
Okay, anything else? Seeing none, Madam CEO, could you read the recommendation, please?
Through the chair, that council and committee recommend to council to approve the chief fire official's recommendation to hire Casey Brissan as a probationary firefighter for the North Hall, conditional to all onboarding documentation being completed and submitted to the payroll clerk.
All right, I'll move that. Need a seconder? Mr. Mayor? Any discussions? Seeing none, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. There's no correspondence and information on unfinished business. I don't see any. So I'm going to pass the gavel on to the next person.
All right. Thank you, Councillor Schulis. And we will now move into recreation and community development. So I'll turn it over to Councillor. We'll do a 5-minute break after recreation.
Okay, well, you'll have to excuse me for a moment.
Okay,
Carry on.
all right. Okay, Councillor Blank.
Thank you to the chair, and thank you, Hannah, for attending. And if you'll continue on here, we are at 11.1 municipal reports, and it is from recreation, and you can start your list.
Perfect. So I have a donation request from the MVDS Prom Committee. The Prom Committee is requesting use of the fundraising rate for a prom fundraiser on May 17th at the PJY softball field. The group, it's represented by different youth annually, but they visit me each year to fundraise for their prom with events around the community. The forum does note May 10th, but I did let the group know that we wouldn't be opening until May long weekend, and so
That's
they
right.
shifted to May 17th.
17th, okay, thank you.
The group also is looking to use the volleyball courts on May 231. I believe that's supposed to be the 31st for a fundraising tournament, and they're requesting no assistance with this event, so there's no donation request there. And the ball field rental rate for a tournament is $230, and the fundraising rate is 50% less at $115.
Okay, any questions or comments? No? Recommendation?
Through the chair, that council approve the use of the fundraising rate for the softball field for the May 17th fundraising tournament held by the MVDS Prom Committee.
Okay, do we have a mover? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by the mayor. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Please continue.
So the next one I have here is for the Barry's Bay BIA Bay Day. They have submitted a donation request with their annual Bay Day celebrations this year scheduled for Saturday, May 16th. As with previous years, they're requesting the closure of Highway 60's Opeongo line from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. from Bay to Conway streets, the setup of picnic tables and garbage cans, delivery and removal of the flatbed trailer at Dunn Street and Opeongo line, and the Bay Day banner hung across Highway 60. This request is annual and has not changed from previous years.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from? Okay, CAO, please.
Through the chair, that council and committee recommend to council to approve the donation request submitted by the Barry's Bay BIA for their annual Bay Day celebrations on Saturday, May 17, 2025, providing a road closure of Highway 60 Opeongo line from Bay Street to Conway Street, staff resources to set up picnic tables and garbage cans, delivery and removal of the flatbed trailer at Dunn Street and Opeongo line, and the Bay Day banner hung across Highway 60.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a mover? Councillor Micah, seconded by Councillor Schulis. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Next.
Yeah, one more for you here from Stone Fence Theater. They are requesting use of the fundraising rate for their rental at PJY on August 7th, at which they'll fundraise for the St. Francis Memorial Hospital ER Renovation Fund. They are requesting a township bar event for their dinner theater show. The regular rate is $800 and the fundraising rate is 50% less at $400. This is the second time that Stone Fence Theater has used the fundraising rate for a performance. Last year they did have a similar request and I believe a great event.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? No? Okay, CAO?
I just have one.
Yes.
Hannah, do we know what our bar sales or our did we have the bar the last time?
They ran the bar,
Yeah, they ran
the
and
bar.
yeah, gave the donations that way. So I'm not sure what the numbers are there.
Okay, so the difference is we would be running the bar this year.
Correct.
Yes.
Because it's a dinner show, we're likely to make some sales.
Okay.
So,
No,
yeah.
just thank you.
Any other comments? Okay, CEO, please.
Through the chair, that council and committee recommend to council to approve the use of the fundraising rate for Stone Fence Theater's rental of the PJYCC ice surface on August 7, 2025.
Do we have a mover? Councillor Schulis, seconded by Mayor Wilmer, got his hand up first. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, that takes care of the donation parts. And we'll continue on now for the signs, please. 11.1.4.
So township staff have made minor adjustments or amendments to the existing advertising and digital sign policies, which has been done in collaboration with legal representation to alter language around what is permitted as advertisements on municipal property. The amended digital sign policy also redefines its focus to strictly municipal messaging as previously discussed and represented in the 2025 schedule of fees. So there's draft policies for council review, and if there are no concerns, they'd be adopted by bylaw later this month.
Okay, thank you. I just want to comment that I'm pleased that the legal representation altered the language around what is permitted as advertisements on municipal property, because that was very important in our previous one. So I think that that is good. And I'm going to ask if there's any questions or comments from council regarding any of the information. I see none. Okay, we'll ask the CEO.
Through the chair, that council and committee recommend that council approve of the amended draft GA11 advertising policy and GA12 digital sign policy, and that the two policies be forwarded to the next regular council meeting to be adopted through bylaw and be added to the corporate policies and procedures for the corporation of the Township of Valley.
Thank you. Do we have a mover? I will for a change. I'll move that one. Seconded by Councillor Olszewski. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And that will go on our website as information.
7 to 10. Data showed there was virtually no change in membership from 2023 to 24. There was one additional member, and members did not use the courts in the evenings in great numbers. The differing hours on different days was also confusing. I fielded a number of calls from people attempting to get into the courts on the wrong day. So staff had suggested a move back to the 1 to 10 p.m. open hours, and after some constructive discussions, we did establish the below. Public hours from 2 to 10 p.m. daily, and members having the regular 24/7 access to the courts. A metal lockbox installed on the exterior of the tennis shack, encouraging donations toward capital projects at the courts, similar to what Zurikowski Park has. And the installation of a security camera at the courts facing toward the lockbox. Unlike the past 2 years, it's my intention that these hours are considered permanent and would not be revisited annually, and instead only upon request of the committee and the township or the township. We also did discuss future capital projects, noting that no capital projects are scheduled for this year, and possible fundraising efforts the committee could undertake to contribute further to future court projects. Discussions should take place in the future regarding the feasibility of a multi-use court or at or near that location, but that conversation was saved for another day.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Schulis, the tennis is your committee. Do you have any comments? Oh, can't hear you.
I guess I was muted, yeah.
Okay.
I know that everything definitely went well at the meeting and everybody was on board. I'm going to...
The Cumbermere Farmers Market. So the Cumbermere Farmers Market has requested no-cost use of the field at the Cumbermere Community Center for their 2025 and 2026 seasons. Their typical spot, which is private property on the corner of Highway 62 and Mill Street, is not feasible for the next few seasons as that intersection will be closed to traffic for bridge construction by the county. The chair of the farmers market did approach staff regarding alternatives, and the CO hall was suggested. So the staff recommendation would be to allow the use of the grounds for no cost, or at no cost, sorry, for the 2 seasons. There would be no access to the Cumber Community Center required, and the morning hours of the market means it's highly unlikely to impede on existing or future rentals.
Okay, thank you. Any comments?
That's good.
Councillor Micah.
So, was there any discussion of using the property across the street where the old seniors building is? I don't know if it's big enough for their needs, but I'm just wondering if that would also be an option.
It wasn't discussed. We only own what's to the right of the driveway, if I'm
Yeah.
looking at it, so it is quite a small space.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Okay, thank you. Just one comment regarding cleanup of the property. They do clean up after they're done?
I can advise. I mean, they
Yeah.
do at their existing location.
Yes,
I'm sure that would be
just
the
to ensure.
expectation
Yeah.
at this one.
Tents removed.
Yeah, and I think that's a great place to have it, and supporting the Cumbermere Farmers Market and all those who are exhibitors and sellers at that, as well as public.
So Hannah, just, sorry, one more thing. You may want to follow up with them with regards to CO Blitz. It might be a good thing, you know, it could work out good, better for both. But just that they have to keep that in mind, that is probably going to happen. Yeah.
Okay, so on that, we'll go to Sue, please. Yes, oh, sorry.
Sorry, I just needed clarification from staff. Did you feel that you needed a recommendation for that?
It's in
Yes.
the. I
Oh,
believe
it's
I
in-
have
it's
it in
on
there.
here.
Oh, I'm sorry, I
It's
missed
there,
it.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
it's at the top of the next
Okay,
page.
Sorry, thanks.
We're still
I was
waiting
going by
for
the
the,
report,
yeah,
thanks.
we're still waiting for the Lakeshore Tennis Club one. Oh, David's moving, but before we speak, David, to you, we're going to go to the recommendation regarding the farmer's market. Sue?
It's not on my top here. I'll just
You
use
want to
this
read
one.
it off here?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, that council and committee recommend to council to approve of the staff recommendation to allow the Cumbermere Farmers Market to use the Cumbermere Community Center grounds at no cost for their markets during the 2025 and 2026 seasons.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Micah, seconded by the mayor. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So we'll go back now to discussion regarding the tennis courts from Lakeshore Tennis Club committee member, Councillor Schulist. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I froze for a little while there. So, yeah, that's, I blame Musk on this one because I got Starlink and that. I don't know if I should continue with that. So anyway, I did make a motion, so did we get a seconder?
So David motions, we'll have to read the recommendation first. David?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Madam CEO?
Lakeshore Tennis, sorry.
It's
11.1.5.
Sorry, I didn't put the minutes there. Thank you. Through the chair, apologies. That council and committee recommend to council to approve the staff recommendation to establish public hours at the Lakeshore Tennis Club from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. daily, 7 days a week, starting with the 2025 season.
Okay, do we have a mover? Moved by Councillor Schulist, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Beautiful.
So I'll skip down to some updates from the Barry's Bay BIA. Staff have received resignation letters from Lisa Murray, Secretary, and Liz Woosley, Chair. So since writing this, we actually did meet yesterday for a really constructive meeting with the other members of the BIA board. So the BIA board, was 7 and now they're 5, which is acceptable under their terms of reference. We had Ann Micah move into the chair position, Pam McNichol into the vice chair position, and Carly Campbell, who was a member at large, is now the secretary. So we are good to go, for the future. So
Excellent. That's very good. Councillor Micah, you are the committee representative on BIA. Do you have any comments?
No, I just would like to take a moment just to thank both Lisa Murray and Liz Woosley for their time, and thank the other members that have stepped up. And I think it's going to work out fine. They've got Bay Day. They've been meeting over Bay Day. That's moving along. They have a previous member that has stepped back in and is willing to help out on a unofficial basis. And one of the previous board members is more than happy to assist Carly with getting her up to speed on the secretary portion of it. So yeah, I think it's a good group. You know, it's a transition. The BIA formed many years ago. It was, made up of very long-standing business owners in the community. They worked as a group for many, many years. And, committees are volunteer committees. Change is rough sometimes, and it takes a little while for things to settle in and kind of get moving. I'm confident. I think it's a good group, and yeah, I'm hoping and praying that everything is going to move forward. And the flowers were ordered as of yesterday, and we've got that under control. And which is, for the record, we need to coordinate with operations to get the baskets down there before we forget. And plans for Bay sound great. And there's a lovely bench that's been officially, now Hannah's going to be ordering that, I believe, at the beginning of April. In commemoration of one of the founding members, Gerard O'Malley. It's lovely. And they have some preliminary ideas to spruce up the little parkette that's next to Talk the Towners, i.e. Stedman's. Maybe nothing dramatic, but actually the ideas are great, and I think it'll look good. So yeah, and moving forward in a positive direction, and I think that's very important.
Thank you, Councillor Micah. Yes, it's great to have them on board, and they are a very important part of our economic development and our future. Councillor Schulist.
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would like to mention also to Mr. Mayor that I did say that I had to leave at 11:30. I have an appointment and so on, but if there is possible, if we could take a little pause here and go into 13.1, I would definitely like to be on that municipal report, if that's possible, Madam Chair, and also Mr. Mayor. Is that possible? Or
Okay, thank you, Councillor Schulist. I'll ask the mayor for his comments and recommendation on Councillor Schulist's request.
Yeah, I think it's important that you're involved in that part of the meeting. So certainly, if the chair is in agreement,
Yes, absolutely.
we can come back to recreation later.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Okay.
yes, you should. Yeah.
Unless you
So
changed
we
your mind.
So we're now going to jump forward, and we'll come back to recreation because Councillor Schulis, as you just heard, has to leave at 11:30. We will jump to item 13.11, vacant council seat options report. And Sue, I'll let you.
I'm going to declare a conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Olszewski.
She'll give you a sign.
Yeah, I'll sign. Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so I'll just go up to that meeting. Sorry about that. So I prepared a report for council with options for consideration. So the point for today is to declare the seat vacant is because it must be done today, and then council can direct on what options they would like to pursue based on the information that I've provided. So there are, so I will give you the options, and those that there is one that I recommend not proceeding with, and that would be option one. Option one is a by-election. I did go back and get the cost of the 2022 election, which was approximately 36,000. I would not be recommending, because there's only 18 months in the term left, that we proceed with the cost of a by-election. The other options available to council, so the one is they're all appointment processes. The first one would be appointment of a candidate from the 2022 municipal election. So it would be highest votes, going down, seeking if they would accept appointment, and that would be for those that put their names forward for councillor. The second option would be appointment by call for applications. So that would be appointment process that would permit eligible persons to apply for an appointment to council. And this open call for applications would be advertised and would include a process through an application. And again, they would have to declare, we would have to verify that they qualify. That would include an interview and presentation to council and an open council meeting. The other option to council is a direct appointment by council with no application. So that would be council approving an appointment, going through an appointment process where council appoints an eligible individual without an application process and without referencing the most recent election results. I am asking that today, if council requires time to decide or to review the options, that I would have to have a resolution declaring the seat vacant, which would be effective March 15th based on the correspondence that we received from Councillor Olszewski.
All right. Any comments? Councillor Blank.
Yes, I agree with the recommendation that we take the time to decide what route we will do. I do have one question, though. So whatever decision we make, when I'm looking at, just because it popped out to me here, option number 2C, direct appointment by council. So if council decides at this point that we want to make a direct appointment, if council cannot find a member at this point of time up until that certain date, can we then go to another option?
Yes.
Thank you.
Councillor Schulis?
Yeah, I was going to mention something here, and I didn't know if we we're going to make a decision or not today, but I know for myself, I was involved in two of the processes for sure, or two options and that, and at some point, I know we're all going to have our own opinions and all that. What I'm scared of is that we've got 4 councillors now, and we're going to end up with an option that is going to be tied. I'm just going to express myself here is that, I'm okay whichever direction council is going to go to, but, if anybody wants to take some time, the option that I just don't want to see it tie. And I think one of the reasons we need another member of council is because of this tie situation. I know that the last time when I was mayor, there was a tie, and then we had to draw out of a hat. Well, I'm not really pleased with that. But not that it was anything against the rules or anything, but that's just my feeling. So I'm going to support council. I'm leaving this to the 3 councillors that are sitting right in front of me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I think legislation requires us to fill a position anyway.
Yes.
And so we do have to, and I agree with the decision to give it some time, think about it. My only caveat to that is that 60 days goes by very quickly. And it would take us to about May 15th. Our last meeting before that is May 6th. Now, there's no reason we couldn't have a special meeting on top of that to extend it. But just remember the time does go by quickly, and let's not leave it right to the last minute. Sue?
Just want to clarify my response to Councillor Blank when I say yes. Should the decision be that we go for interview, we have to ensure that we've allowed enough time for advertising. The decision must be made by May 15th. So.
All right, so we do have a recommendation Sue read that,
If I may, through the chair, that council and committee recommend to council that the seat of councillor is declared vacant effective March 15, 2025.
Okay, yeah. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Micah, seconded by Councillor Blank. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call a vote. All in favor? That's carried.
Okay. Good, thank you very much.
Right.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you, Councillor Schulis.
Yeah,
Okay, so before we continue on, we'll bring Councillor back into the room, but I think we should move for a 5-minute at this point,
I
please.
think so, yep.
Okay, moved by Councillor Blank, seconded by Councillor Micah. All in favor? Good. Thank you. Thanks, David. See you later.
okay, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.
order, and we're moving back to recreation again, so I'll turn it over to Councillor Blank.
Thank you to the chair, and Hannah, we'll continue on. I'm not sure where we are.
Just at the general updates there at the end. So the health unit has inspected both community centers in January. Neither facility was subject to any violations. There was a note for PJY to advise renters to bring soap and paper towel for the sinks, so we opted instead just to have those supplies there for renters to avoid any potential violations. The reports are attached.
Thank you.
Can I,
Yes, sorry, Councillor Maker?
on the subject of soap,
Yeah.
so I don't know what the process is at PJY in the kitchen, but I can tell you at the Cumbermere Hall, there is no dish soap. Like regular, palm olive, whatever, so it's that, and I've brought that up a couple of times, and unless it's been supplied, I'm not sure if it is or isn't there, but that is something that needs to be available. Like renters, caterers can't, tell people bring your own dish soap.
I can check. This is referring to
Hand soap, I know, it's just the soap was like, oh, perfect opportunity. Can we make sure that there's dish
at both
soap?
facilities. Sure.
Good.
Thank you.
Good comment. Thank you, Councillor Micah. Any other? Okay, we'll continue on to the next item.
So staff have been approached regarding the potential for a multi-day event to take place Family Day weekend starting in 2026. The event would be run by a committee, but with help and support from township staff as they find their footing with a new event. It's worth noting that 2026 is the 25th anniversary of amalgamation and the formation of the Township of Madawaska Valley. And I have already planned on bringing a proposal to council for events or a series of events in recognition of this.
Okay, thank you. So if you allow me to take a few minutes, I've been the one that has been working towards this festival and goal. I've discussed it with numerous people in the communities. I've also expressed it with Hannah, and the enthusiasm and the mayor, and the enthusiasm for something like this is really out there. And what I'm proposing and what I'd like to see is next year, the township will be 25 years, so that's an additional thing. But over the last few years since we've been elected, and all along, people are saying, bring back Timberfest, bring back this, and nobody wants to do anything. So I think what I'd like to do at this time is propose the following, that we involve the community, and it is a community event started by the township to say, this is what we'd like to do. Do we have people in our community, groups in our community, individuals in our community willing to get on board and be a part of this and have a meeting in a month and a half or 2 months from now to discuss it further? To put the idea out there now at this point in time, because it is a year away. My proposal is that it would be during the Family Day weekend of 2026. The 13th is the Friday, the 12th is the Thursday, whatever. Many other communities, what they do is they don't have one group in charge. They have a multi-team approach where I believe our municipality, and I've spoken to Amanda regarding it, could provide the advertising costs for the events and that. But as a group, we work together over the next year to come up with a better plan and a good plan to involve many people in the community and clubs and organizations. It's time to get off your butt. If you want to be a part of things and be a part of things, this is the time to do it. And I'm very enthused about this, and I'm sure council will agree and come up with many different ideas. So I'll just briefly go through a few things, if you don't mind, and then any comments. It could be an event all of our own, okay? So it doesn't have to be 2 days, doesn't have to be 3 days, and it's not in one location. It's in the Wilno area, it's in the Cumbermere area, it's in the Barry's Bay area, and if need be, on the back road somewhere, depending on what type of events are coming up. We have many groups and organizations and clubs in this community to put on all types of events and projects for all age groups, but also to be creative in what we are doing and what kind of events we would hold. So my push at this time is to go with things, events over a 4 or 5 day schedule that involves perhaps I know the Barry's Bay Rec Committee is very much trying to book Gail Gavin for a dance on the long weekend next year. So that would be one group. I would like to see the other groups, the Wilno Rink Committee, come up with a plan and an event, not to conflict with another one, but be a part. So you could start it on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it goes through. I'd like to see the great group in Cumbermere come up with something. And what they really do well is the bonfire skating event. And that is super. That is what we need. That's the type of thing we need. Something that we can all take part in, but yet is simple and pleasurable. Okay? So when I'm looking at things, ideas included chainsaw carving, if there's somebody can put on a display of that on a day. A sledge hockey game. Okay? Things like that. An archery display. A Zumba display. How about the old-fashioned square dancing opportunity in the afternoon, where you have your local musicians coming in and playing for it? Okay, and then you have your old-fashioned waltzes and things like that. So that's something one of the groups or a group of people in the community could say, I'll look after that, I'll do that. The other thing is, I was talking with Legion President at this time, and I said, like, you have your bingos on Thursday night, you could make it a special event bingo, okay? Now, the idea I came up with for the name, and you're probably going to laugh, but when you think about it, it's us. And that is Flannel Fest. Think about it, Flannel Fest. Okay? Everybody here wears their flannels in February. Everybody here wears their plaids and their, you know, you wear all these things. So it's just being us. It's just us being out of the community. Some of the things too, like we could have a baked beans contest. Okay? We could have a skating dance for all ages on the ice surface, where you play your waltzes, you play a polka, you play the twist, you know, those type of things, and where it's a family event that everybody can come. So you have a pie and butter tart competition if you want. Okay? You have young artists workshops, so the young ones get out and paint something. It's amazing what our youth can do these days, let alone us old folks. Okay? I also know that there's so many quilters in our community, and the quilters are really busy being involved in fundraising and developing their craft and presenting the craft. So why don't on a Sunday we allow a great big area to be used for 20 or 25 local quilters to put their quilts on display, show them how quilts are made, the stitches, those type of things that are part of our community. So those are the things that I'm looking at and hoping. I'm hoping that maybe other organizations, perhaps minor hockey, figure skating, could put on something, but not the usual stuff, something that is different. Okay, we could have the local hockey team, the Wolves. Could they do a golf hockey on the outdoor rink surface? Okay, instead of using holes, they use so many different things that they can come up with. And the more people I talk to, the more people are getting enthused about it. And I hope council will support this. I know this year it's too late, but there is a grant available, a festival grant called Experience Ontario. It has already been done for this year, but we could apply for next year, before next year, but the following year. So you can get a big name artist to come in if you want to. But there's so many different options. And so over the next few weeks, Hannah said she's working on a report, and I know some of you probably have ideas already as to what we can do as well. The station keepers, would they do something? The Lions Club, would they do something? So there's all those options. And I'm hoping that all these people will contact Hannah or myself or whoever, other members of council, and come up with some suggestions and ideas. And we have a meeting within the next month and a half to 2 months so that you have a chance to go through your ideas and that and meet up at the arena on a Monday evening when nobody else has anything to do on a Monday and discuss this thing and see what we can put together. So that's my enthusiasm. Hannah is very enthused about it. And I'm hoping that something like this will highlight our community and have some good, fun times. That's my presentation. I don't know, Hannah, you have anything else to add?
No, I don't think so. Just in our conversations, obviously you're kind of steering things, which is great. And if council is would I guess is appeases the council, then I can also like lend that support and continue to kind of make it something that's the township is involved in.
Thank you. One thing I want to add before Mayor Wilmer comments is people say, well, how are we going to finance it? So if it is one group, like a specific fundraising group in the community, like the figure skaters, they look after their own event. They look after their monies, and the money that they make at that thing goes back to them. The Legion puts on a bingo, it's the Legion money to go back to them, so that we're not involved in any of the dollars and cents. If CO Rec Committee puts on something, the money stays with them. They invest it and they bring it back, just like anything else. What we are is the calendar, to design the calendar for all the events with the cooperation of all these groups. Mayor Wilmer?
Thank you, Councillor Blank. Yeah, just a short comment. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's much needed at that time of year. We really do miss the former festival, and it's a long winter, and by mid-February, you're really looking for something. I also I know when I worked in the city of Ottawa, City of Nepean, a lot of festivals that we organized were established in that sort of way by having each group do their own thing and then just packaging them together. Mm-hmm. And it works very well. Really, the chair committee really is tasked with bringing them all together, getting the calendar, getting the promotional items out to showcase it, and sometimes nagging a few people to get them moving on things. But otherwise, it's a good way to create a festival. I think Plaid Fest is a good idea, and I'd look forward to it in the middle of February next year.
Okay. I also wanted to add too that our local snowmobile association could run a poker run. So there are those other events. Yeah, she's got notes going down. But there's also, you can have a pancake breakfast, and the Legion has one. Will they switch it to that weekend? Yeah, a fishing derby. Yeah, or it's free family fishing. It's free family fishing that way. So you can go out and see how do you actually ice fish. You don't use ice cubes as bait. Let people see how you can do that kind of thing. Also, a chili competition if you wanted to. Spaghetti dinner, a soup and sandwich. Like we have local. I know the Anglican Church always puts on a soup and sandwich thing. It would be nice to have that as part of the whole week kind of thing. So that there's a number of things. So there's many things. Any other comments from council? No? That's a good idea. Good idea? Yeah. Okay, so we should go ahead and work towards this? We don't need do we? No, just
as long as there's direction that
direction,
staff
okay.
can, yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
It's a multi-day event?
Yes.
I believe
there are grants.
Yeah, I believe the Experience Ontario is for established events, so we wouldn't be able to do it for year one, but that's okay.
But it'll be the following
year.
Yeah, because that grant money has already been given for 2026, so it would be the following year we would apply. Yeah. Okay, thank you. That's my spiel. Next.
Just a few more things and I'll wrap up. So staff, I have shown the caboose to 3 different parties over the course of the past few months and fielded multiple calls and emails from groups interested in submitting an expression of interest by the due date of March 31st. The Barry's Bay Farmers Market has requested use of the railway station grounds on May 17th, which is Bay Day, and June 20th, which is there's a previously booked event at their typical spot of the Legion. We are looking to have staff on the May long weekend. We always do. We would not have staff present at the facility for June 20th, which is a Friday, in order to accommodate the market and have the station open for washrooms and other use. I can work at the station should my schedule permit it that day. If there's internet, I can work as well.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Micah.
Sorry, I wanted to comment on the use of the train station for farmers market on Bay Day.
Yes.
There's a reason for that. Bay Day has ran into some challenges the last couple of years with having what is classified as a farmers market on the main street with the health unit. And it's basically a no-go. We had to try to think of a different alternative, or we could not have the farmers market vendors literally be a part of it. So this has worked out, I think, quite well, where they can set up at the train station. It's still a part of the event, and I think enhances the event because people will, even though the main street's shut down at the three-way stop, people are still going to walk between the two locations. And it also helps the businesses in that end that are outside of the barrier, which are at a bit of a, even, it's a BIA event, and these particular BIA businesses are a little bit of a disadvantage because they're not within the closed street portion. So I hope council is in agreement with that. It's I think a perfect solution to still allow that to be a part of Bay Day, but without the problems with health departments and et cetera.
Yes, Mayor Wilmer, thank you.
No, I agree with you, Councillor Micah, because in the past, I've heard actually, I think it was the station keepers who do open the train station for Bay Day, and or have in the past, but nobody was coming because they're too far removed from everything else. So this would just lengthen it because a lot of people have to park down that way anyway, and then they walk towards it. So certainly it would really just lengthen out the scope of Bay Day, and I think it would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also agree, but I think we just better check with the station keepers to make sure they're not going to use the property out there in front of us.
I think you have, Hannah, have you not?
No, I don't see them having an issue with it. All their stuff is always inside, and we have a really good working relationship. But I, of course, will let them know.
Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Yeah, just in case, because
Any other comments regarding that? No. Okay, when it comes to, I have a few comments regarding the caboose. I think everyone has a copy of the letter that was received after council had made their decision, after the recommendations and hard work of the recreation department in suggestions of what we need to do. And I think I believe council still supports the issue of not keeping the caboose. Now, since that opportunity, since that decision was made by council, I was approached by two different people at two different occasions regarding two different ways of, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? We need that, And my recommendation to them was, okay, get your group together, come forward and say that you want to keep the caboose here and bring that forward to council. Oh, well, no. Okay, so what has happened is the recommendation the council made is a good one. We're looking at what we can do and what is historically correct. The work of the people before this time was great, but it has not been part of the community for the last number of years. Those that had been on the committee, and I saw the list of who was on the committee, and I believe Councillor Schulis, I'm sorry he's not here, was also a part of that group. And I think they've done the best that they could, but I think what we need to do is move on. It has been stagnant for a number of years. I was present at a meeting at the Station Keepers annual meeting when the two people that sent this letter to council attended and asked the train station keepers to take it over. And the station keepers' comments were no, because it is not a part of their mandate. And specifically, historically, is what they are looking at is history. It is not a part of our history. So I think that itself is an important issue, just like we discussed in previously some other issues. Let me say, for example, putting a covered bridge in Wilno. It is not historically correct and would cost a fortune. Well, I'm feeling that this is going to cost us even more fortune to do. However, I'll put it out to council. If you feel that we should delay, I think our last date is March 31st.
Yeah, so it's about a 3-month window. It's been
A 3-month window. We've had 3 applications. In order to keep anybody local still involved, do we add another 30 days to it? Or do we just go ahead? I'm of the mind that it doesn't matter to me, but whatever group it is, you better be prepared for a lot of hard work. Any comments? Amir Wilmer.
Yeah, no, like you, I've had a couple of people approach me about it too. I think, all I can say is we made a good decision at the time. I stick by it. But if you have a group that would like to get involved and take over looking after it, come to council with your presentation. You still have a whole month to go, and get your group together, and we'd be glad to listen to you.
Thank you, Mayor Wilmer. Councillor Micah.
Well, I'll just comment because everybody else is, so just so that I'm transparent. I'm not in favor of extending the deadline. That information has been out for months, so the opportunity has been there. We do have 3 interested other organizations, and if a local group does get formed, it's a long-term commitment. It's not, we'll get 6 or 7 people together and put some paint on it, and then it's right back to where we started in 2 years from now. So I believe we made the right decision at the time, and yeah, and I'm happy with staying with what we decided originally.
Thank you, Councillor Maker. Councillor Olszewski?
I agree with what's been said. I'm fine with the original plan.
Yep.
That makes the most sense.
Okay,
Thank
and
you.
so am I. Thank you, and so am I. And I thank Hannah for all her extra effort and work, and pictures you have supplied, and the process that you've gone through, the tender process to declare it surplus and out. Thank you for that. So anybody in the community, you have until March 31st. Thank you.
One more sentence from me here. So the grant application for the new boards, pad, and line painting at the Cumbermere Community Centre has been submitted to the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Results are anticipated within 4 months.
Okay. Thank you.
Wow, that's a really fast turnaround. We'll let you know in 2026.
Okay,
That's
anything
why,
else on your report, Hannah?
So there is, just under correspondence and information, there is a letter here from the CRC, Bill Smith, the executive
Yes.
director.
I forgot that, sorry. Thank
So
you.
that's just addressed to council if they would like to.
Okay. We have been able to have this group use the arena over the last 2 years, I believe, 3 years.
Yeah, I believe it's at least 2. They have,
Yeah.
I think, every year that I have.
And I have seen the program in operation, and it is very good. What I'd like to propose is that for 1 more year, we allow it at no charge, unless they get a sponsor by a local group to do it. I think it's very important to have our children involved in something structured, as well as this organization has this event structured. And I would recommend that we forgo it for this year as well, see what this year develops, and then the following year, perhaps suggest to CRC to find a sponsor, because we will be charging after that. I don't know if there's anybody else with any comments. Councillor Maker.
Just have a question. With regards to the program, what type of responsibility is on our end with respect to staffing?
None.
So
Are we paying staff to be on site, go open, close, 4-hour minimums? Like, what is,
Yeah, so if I'm looking at last year, so it was Monday to Friday. Monday and Friday are set up and takedown days, and then Tuesday to Thursday is the kids are present. Staff are there during the day anyways, during the week. They are at the arena. It's kind of their home base for where they do all their parks activities. So there wasn't any additional staffing that I'm aware of, because staff are there opening the doors and closing them kind of thing.
But also regards to cleaning, like, is there, a couple of hours a day where that's
No,
the
they clean it up.
space they clean themselves?
Yeah.
Like, those are the,
They
I
clean
don't.
themselves.
Yeah, so I don't know the answer to that one, but that can be certainly included if there's any interest.
Yes,
Council
in-
to grant the request, but
setting up tables, taking down tables.
that they do all
of the cleaning.
themselves.
They do all that, yeah.
So they set themselves up. It looks pretty cool in there. They use the ice surface, and then I can advise that the expectation is that they're cleaning up after themselves. I don't know if that
A
was included in
follow-up to
previous
that,
years.
though, over the last 2 years in speaking with Stuart Pegg at the time, who was manager, they were very good at doing everything, and it was quiet, it was great, it was well done. One thing I would like to see, though, is more local interest and more availability for our local children to get involved. I'm not sure how the advertising and what they do with this and how many people they involve, but I think we'd like to have more local people involved, more children involved in attending.
So we did bring this up last year. They wouldn't disclude a child from Killaloo from attending the Barry's Bay camp. Like, that wasn't something that they were interested in doing at the time.
My concern is I want to make sure that the people in this township know that it's available for their children.
Right.
That's where it is. And on that condition, I would say yes to no charge for this year, because we need to have our local children involved in it. You agree? Yeah, thank you. Yeah?
But the advertising's on them.
The advertising's on there.
Like, this is
Yep.
an independent government
That's right.
funded organization,
That's right.
and they need to run their own organization. We're not going to be running their organization.
Agree. So just so I understand what the direction or what the response would be, like, are you looking for like a certain percentage or MV kids? Like, what is the caveat to having the free use of the
I think what we
facility?
need is more information on how many children can be involved, okay, from them. We don't know that, do we?
And what is their local
And what is their local advertising?
My understanding is that there's CRC obviously has a large umbrella, toy bus, game on,
Yes,
and daycare. So I believe like they advertise within their existing organization, like the parents who attend toy bus
Yeah.
and within the daycare and stuff. But I don't know for sure.
Okay, so I think it's important that we get that information. CEO.
If I may, through the chair, their letter does identify that
Yep.
it is, the largest percentage is our, is from Madawaska Valley.
But no numbers.
Yeah, well, it says that it's up to 62
children,
children
okay.
Currently enrolled, and that the largest percentage of their program participants, showing a strong local participation, is mostly from MV.
And, yes, okay, thank you. Mayor Wilmer?
I'm just looking at the same section
section,
because, that even though we don't see a lot of advertising from them, I think a lot of it is done through their programs at the school, and they really promote this through those. But I think it wouldn't hurt to step up their advertising a little bit locally to help the program out. And I too am in favor of giving them another year. Okay. And then I think we can discuss it again later.
So do you need direction on any of that, Hannah, to find out any more information?
I would, if I may, through the chair,
Yes.
I'd like a resolution.
Yes, a resolution, but is there any more?
But is council, like, are you looking for more information before you make a decision?
No,
Or- okay,
no.
great. Okay.
No. Okay, do we have a recommendation, Sue, please?
If I may, bear with me here, that council and committee recommend council approve the use of the PJYCC for Game On Summer Program at no cost for 2025, and the group be advised that 2026 would require a sponsorship to be able to be allowed the fundraising rate. And
Yeah. Okay. So I'll move that. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Olszewski, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah. Before you leave, I'm glad Andy came in because there's a couple of things regarding recreation that I want brought up. And if I can find my notes, I'd like Andy to come to the table as well. Thank you. So in being up at the arena of the last 3 years, there are a number of things of importance that we need to look at, and I know that you have already done some of that, Andy, through the facilities checks and stuff like that. And one is, it's been an issue for many, many years, and that's the exit that comes from the main lobby to the side parking lot. I'm not sure what direction that is.
Door one.
Door one? Okay, it's very dangerous for ice falling. Now, our presently staff go out 5 or 6 times a day, depending on the weather, to knock down the icicles. And there is a sign on the door saying, do not use because of falling ice. Well, that doesn't hold anymore. I think we need to invest in a proper structure to cover that doorway, because some child's going to run through or some adult's going to go through and ice is going to hit them. I'd rather spend a few $1,000s now doing it right than a liability issue further on. I know the roof itself, because of the type of roof it is, and there's the melting things on it and everything like that, it has been an issue. And even back in the 80s when I was on council, it was an issue at that time. So that's how many years it's been sitting there. And I think we need to get this done properly. And Andy, I think you've been talking to them regarding that, have you, at the arena?
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. We have been discussing it. The heat cables do present a bit of a issue because of what is happening is because it's the steel roof, the snow is melting with the heat cables, because we're also worried about the leaking of the roof because being steel, and with the things that are on the snow guards, there's some issues we have with it. Dave and I were just talking about it today, and even last week when I was there on site, We did look at it. He has turned off the heat cable, so it's not creating ice anymore. That has helped a little bit. However, we have to explore another solution because, again, as you said, it's happening since the 80s, and this has been continuing. I know I've been there at times when the ice is hanging down 6 feet and they're about 6 inches around, and that's a lot of weight. So again, the only way to deal with it is because we're not going to change the roof style, but we could possibly do some kind of an awning out the front, where just to deflect the ice in and coming down. But that'll be something we have to explore, and because it's an assembly building, it's not something that we can just say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do," and move forward. We can put a plan together, and then we bring it to council, and we can discuss it at that point.
Okay, thank you. Any comments? Councillor Micah?
So I've heard some things from staff over there too, and I think some of the concern is that people are actually using that door.
Not,
Like
no,
they
not
should
now.
be going in the main front door.
No, they are.
Are we talking, I don't know, are we, maybe we're talking about two different doors
No, we're
here.
talking about
No.
the red door. It's the one,
Yeah.
there's the sign.
On the parking lot,
It's the
yeah.
one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's been some, people go, it gets wet, it gets dirty. I don't know why that door is so being used. I never remember using that door. It was always going through the main door at the front. So I don't know why they shouldn't even be going in and out of that door.
But unfortunately, they do, Councillor Micah.
Well, lock
And
the
it's
door.
not as, we can't have a locked door in a facility when it's open. But the staff I've been talking to too has said that the number of people using that door is down, but all it takes is one to go out. Staff over the last couple of years have worked hard to keep the emergency doors, the fire exit doors at the dressing rooms closed too, so that people aren't using those, and to use the main entrance. So they are working towards that. We're hoping that, but like I said,
Like they're
all of this-
frustrated. I'm not saying.
Yeah,
it's
oh
a
yeah,
staff
they
issue.
are.
The
They
staff
are.
are frustrated.
The staff are
because-
frustrated, and that's
yeah.
why I think we really need to look at what it's going to cost and what we can do, and I'd like to see a report on that. Any other comments? No? Okay.
So through you, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
my add, just so you're aware, the doors can be locked from the outside, but they cannot be locked from the inside. So in order to prevent anybody from accessing or exiting, that's in contravention of the Ontario Fire Code because it has to be there for a reason. It is there for a reason. So that being said, because of the occupant load, that's why the doors are there. And even the exterior doors, yes, they are all being maintained, shoveled out, and that all is also part and parcel of the Fire Code. And that's the reason why staff have to do that. So the only solution, Councillor Mikey, you had identified locking the door so that people don't use it, but they're still going to exit it, and we cannot block that exit. I know in the past, when I was the fire chief, they tried blocking things, and I said, you cannot do that because, again, it's in contravention of the Fire Code. If somebody was to get hurt, we're on the spot for that. And that's not what we want, right? It's an assembly building. It is a high use. It's also more restrictive, so that's why it's in place. So.
Okay, so I recommendation then that you get a report regarding that.
If I may, through the chair, just a
Yes.
staff direction.
And one more item, and that is the doors at the dressing rooms coming out onto that same parking lot. They are fire doors as well, and people are not using them as much as they had in the past after the diligence of the staff over the last few years, making people come around the main entrances, so it's a lot safer. But I think some work has to be done. The doors themselves seem to be okay, but it's the around the doors. The step and everything else needs repairs because you can see that much daylight under them. And one of them is actually, the cement is actually falling apart. So I'd like to see something done with that rather than spend a whole bunch of money on new doors. Can we look at redoing the door frames, et cetera, like that? So that's my other question for council. Can we go ahead and ask that to be checked into?
Through you, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
The thresholds definitely are in need of repair.
Okay.
We have looked at it. We replaced one double door last year on the south
Yes.
side of the building towards where the garbage done, and they did repair of the concrete. That is in, part of our criteria in the next couple of weeks. I haven't had a chance to talk to Hannah about it, but I did with Dave, and I'm going to be making contact with our concrete expert in the area to say, give us a quote.
Okay.
And again, I agree, the doors, it's not the door itself. The door latch is fine.
Yes.
There's other doors in the facility that we need to correct and address. However, the exterior doors, unless they're in really bad shape, that's the only time we're going to replace them.
Okay, thank you. So that is a direction then to, yeah, okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else from anyone? I'll hand the gavel back. Thank you. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Hannah, Andy, and thank you, Councillor Blank. All right, we'll now move into planning and development. And municipal reports have 12.11, appointment of fence viewers and livestock valuers. And this is a report from the CAO.
So if I may, this should be brief unless you have any questions about the report. I had brought up to council in former report that our 2010 fence viewer livestock valuer bylaw needed to be brought back to council and revised. I did discuss it with some clerks at a networking meeting, and the recommendation that I have, and it supports my recommendation throughout the report to move forward with the draft that I've provided, which includes the act requires 3 fence viewers. I would be requesting that we appoint 5. The reason being is that when you need 3, you would always have 3 available. Not that all 5 attend, just that you have, based on the experience that comes to the table, you would have that. I did put for council consideration as well, seeing as it's always probably will be, if we don't have enough interest, I would be approaching Brudenell Lindock. They've just recently appointed 5 fence viewers. If any of those, because some of them also own property in Madawaska Valley, would also be interested to be named as fence viewer should we not receive enough applications. Therefore, my decision would be to revise the fees to match BLR's, which is $100 per hour, including mileage for the 3 that attend. What I did like about a lot of the ones that I reviewed, including Greater Madawaska, KTAR, and BLR, is that there is an application fee that has been added, and most of it will be recoupable through the application. So I am proposing that council approves the report as presented, including the draft as presented, and I would be bringing it forward to the next council meeting.
Right, and I think just for some clarification too, that we have had fence sitters, I mean basically Paul Schulis for a while, and I think he's only had 2 or 3.
I think in the last 4 years through the chair, I think we've had 2.
Yeah, so you have a recommendation here?
I do, and before I bring the recommendation, I also wanted to add that it was noted by Mr. Schulis that really there's no training that's been made available, and with the changes in legislation, and I did speak to some of the other clerks that from adjacent municipalities, they're all on board, that we would split cost to bring some training forward, like a session for line viewers, as well as the staff that have to implement it. And so that would be a cost sharing venture as well.
Yeah.
So therefore, through the chair, my recommendation that council and committee recommend to council to direct the CEO clerk to prepare a bylaw for an upcoming council meeting reflecting the draft bylaw as presented.
Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Micah, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. All in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you.
All right, so we now move on to 12.12, Shoreline Road Allowance, applications for purchase and sale. And we do have a recommendation again, and we'll read that first,
Okay.
perhaps, and then
Through the chair, that council and committee receives this report for the closure and conveyance of shoreline road allowances as information, and that council and committee recommends to council to direct staff to bring forward the final bylaws to the March 18, 2025 regular meeting of council to stop up, close, and convey the shoreline road allowances pertaining to application numbers 2024-03 and 2024-04.
Andy, would you like to speak on this? I believe it is your report.
I apologize, I don't have the report in front of me. I can't remember which numbers these are. Britt, could you just refresh my memory, please?
I can through the chair. So these are for Polybeski and Wolak.
Thank you. So Wolak, I do believe, is on Carson Lake, and Palaveski is on Ohio Road. So both, they've met all the criteria. There should be no issues with what we've seen. I do believe we're at the point, we've already had the survey registered, so we're just at the point now we have to pass a bylaw, and then we can finish up the paperwork and the accounts.
Okay. So, any questions of council? I think it's pretty straightforward. Oh,
Yes, yes.
Councillor Mike, or Councillor Blank.
Just one question, the number attached to each one is 2024-03 and 2024-04. Is that 24 or 25?
Through the chair, those are, those are the application numbers. So these clients would have submitted their application
last
in
year.
2024. Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's a little piece of time, but I understand. Okay, thank you. Just wondered. Thank you.
All right, so we do have a recommendation.
We've read the recommendation.
We've read it, and did I get a mover and a
I'll
seconder?
move.
Did I?
Nope.
Nope. Moved by Councillor Blank, seconded by Councillor Micah. Any further discussion?
None.
All in favor? That's carried. We have no correspondence or information. No outstanding matters, so we will now move into finance and admin. We've dealt with item 13.1. We have no correspondence and no unfinished business. So we now move into the regular council portion of the agenda, confirmation of minutes. And our first step, or our first recommendation, is that the regular council meeting minutes for February 19th, 2025 be approved as presented. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Blank. Any discussion?
None.
Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. And is there any business arising from the minutes? There's no new business, so now we'll move into bylaws. Bylaw 18.1, bylaw 2025-24, adopt 2025 municipal budget. Recommendation is that bylaw 2025-24 being bylaw to adopt the 2024 municipal budget be read a first, second, and third time, and finally that passed this 4th day of March 2025.
Just to correct, would be the 2025.
What's that?
You just referenced 2024 budget.
Oh, sorry, that's the 2025 budget. It is bylaw 24 though.
Yes,
Yeah. All right. Could I get a mover for that? Councillor Mike, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. All in favor? And that is carried. Okay, where now I lost my place. Okay, so bylaw 18.2 is a bylaw 2025-25 to adopt 2025 curbside pickup transfer station budgets and rate. Recommendation is that bylaw 2025-25 being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 curbside pickup and 2025 transfer station budgets and rates for municipal purposes be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 4th day of March 2025. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Blank, seconded by Councillor Olszewski. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw 2025-26, adopt 2025 water system budget and water system rates. Recommendation is that bylaw 2025-26 being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 water system budget and establish the water system rates effective January 1st, 2025, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 4th day of March 2025. Could I get a mover? Councillor Olszewski, seconded by Councillor Blank. Any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. And then 18.4 is the bylaw 2025-27 adopt 2025 water system budget and wastewater system rates. Recommendation is that bylaw 2025-27 being a bylaw to adopt the 2025 wastewater system budget and establish wastewater system rates effective January 1st, 2025. Be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 4th day of March 2025. Could I get a mover, please? Councillor Oshelski, second by Councillor Blank. Any discussion? All in favor? And that's carried. So we do have an in-camera session. And we do have a recommendation that the meeting enter in-camera session at 12:25 to discuss matters pertaining to a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board. Advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including a municipal or local board employee, pursuant to the Ontario Municipal Act 2001 C25 S 239 brackets 2 brackets C brackets F brackets B. And we have 3 items. 1, property land related matters. And 1A is the confidentiality statement, and 1B is the estate status. 2 is the CAO update, MA-00432. 3 is human resources treasurer's report. So with that, I need a mover. Councillor Oshelski, seconded by Councillor Blank. All in favor? It's carried, and we are now in camera. Okay, we are back in open session. We do have a recommendation, and that is that Council of the Corporation of the Township of Madawaska Valley provided staff with direction. Could I get a mover for that? Councillor Micah, seconded by Councillor Blank. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Confirming bylaw. Recommendation that bylaw 2025-28 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Madawaska Valley Council in committee meeting of March 4th, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time finally passed this 4th day of March 2025. Again, I need a mover.
After you, Joseph, your last one.
Okay, Joseph. And seconder, Councillor Micah. And before we do officially adjourn, I would like to thank Councillor Olszewski very much for the time he has committed to us. You've been a great addition to us. I've enjoyed having you, and the youth of our community, you're losing a lot by not having you here. So thank you very much, and all the best in the future. Okay.
Can I say something? I'd just like it noted for the record that until these minutes are confirmed at the next council meeting, that Councillor Olszewski does still have a window of opportunity to withdraw his resignation. I will harass you day and night for the next couple of weeks.
All right.
Thank you.
And with that, I have a recommendation that the council and committee meeting adjourn. Could I get a mover, please?
I'll move it.
No, keep it
I'll second
I am accepting Councillor Olszewski's last moving, and seconded by Councillor Blank. All in favor? That's carried.
Put your hand up.
Short of.
Thank you.